Welcome into the latest episode and the greatest episode of Men of a Certain Age, The Soup. It is the year in review. And as always, I got my mans and them with me. And who I'm speaking with is I'm talking about my man Panero up there in the 716. And then also my man DL down in the ATL. Peace. What's up, fellas?
What's good with y'all, man? Good to see y'all boys. We missed last week. You know what I mean? It's actually this holiday season has been crazy from November on. It's been crazy for us, but I'm glad we can get it in for the last one of the year and send it off the right way and look forward to 2025, man. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get it.
That's what it is, man. Panero, my G.
What's up with my guys, man? Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. The new year coming in. Coochie Jackalia, self-determination, all of that, man. You know what I'm saying? A brother been around here under the weather because of the crazy weather up in the town up here, but I'm here with my guys. Get it in.
Let's do it.
That's good. That's good to see you bounce back from your little fight. Unfortunately, it's that time of the year. You got to get your vitamins, your vitamin C's, your super vitamin C's, and the extra additives and preservatives and all of that. And most importantly, you want to have that H2O pumping, pumping streams. You
put the Vicks on your feet with the socks.
And drink some ginger ale.
So say word. Listen, Lord, that you say that shit. We was talking pre-show about remedies and different things to beat the codes and different things of that nature. And I said, man, I've been around the sun a few times, and I heard you hear some of the most crazy things from people. And when I say crazy, it's crazy because you've never heard it before, not crazy because it's actually crazy. But at the same time, man, you know, I had told y'all I had went through my little ailments, and on a coworker of mine at the job site, she gave me one of her remedies that was passed down to her from her peoples. It was something that I had never heard before. Shout out to Lex. What up, Lex? You know what I mean? Man, she said, man, get the Vicks vapor rub tank and rub it on your feet. On your feet, man, like you putting your lotion on and all of that down there.
Put the socks on it. Yeah, you got to go right back with the socks right on top of it.
And then put your socks on it, then cover up and sweat him out. I was like, say word. I had never heard. I pushed my wig back. What little bit of wig I got. You know, it pushed it back. I'm like, word. And then I come to talk to y'all about it in the pre-show, and Pete, he took the words right out of my mouth.
Come on, man. Put them socks on with the Vicks and cover it up. You know, sweat it out. You know, you might have some weird dreams and shit when you're sleeping. You know, smelling the Vicks and your feet together. You might be having dreams of battling Fran Flintstone in a rap battle or some shit, going back and forth with him.
Say word.
You're gonna wake up feeling better.
Yeah, you definitely gonna feel better. That's the thing about Black people, man. We always got a nice remedy. You know what I mean? Back in the days, we couldn't go to hospitals. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? There wasn't a practice of the Hippocratic Oath for Black people, so we had to find our own remedies. Ginger ale, you know what I'm saying? The NyQuil on the socks, the NyQuil on the chest, all that, all the things that really kept us fortified, man. And they're brilliant because they're still applied to this day, man. It's good stuff, man.
We are
brilliant.
The originators of making it do what it do. But as always, man, it's good to see y'all, man, on this Sunday, man. And we wrapping up 2024. 2024 has been a tumultuous year, just from my perspective of things. Looking forward to 2025. So we're gonna talk about some of the things that happened during this year, some of the people that we lost, some of the powerful people that we've lost in this year. But before we jump into that, man, we have to jump into.
Don't know what time it is. That time again.
So yeah, fellas.
And 716 tattoo is coming too.
That's what it is. I see you out there repping, holding it down. This is week 17, my boys. We've been talking all year. It's coming down finally to crunch time. There's a lot of BS going on. And I don't understand it. And we're going to get into some of that with the talking heads and some of their takes on things as far as Black quarterbacks and different things of that nature. I'm like, sometimes y'all just I understand you get paid to talk, but sometimes it's all right to make sense with the shit you say. Part and self. But yeah, man, bringing this full circle back to
the bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Come on now.
All right, man. The last time we chopped it up, we were going into that Detroit game, and we all had varying views on that game. Came through that game unscathed. Actually, after we came out of that game, once again, the talking heads, they crowned us. You know what I'm saying? Then he would say, if you want to crown their ass, then crown them. you know? But since then, had a little bit of a stinker against the Patriots. But you have to take that with a grain of salt because, again, that's a
division game.
Yeah.
It's a divisional foe. They know what they do. They know how they like to play. They used to playing up in Orchard Park. You know what I'm saying? So after that, it's, now they not. We're going to take the crown off their head and pass it on over here to Baltimore. You know what I mean? And the reason why I bring up Baltimore is this, man. I sent y'all the text, right? The Cam Newton, I think it was Cam Newton and Ryan Clark. We come from, because we are men of a certain age, we come from when there were no black quarterbacks.
Zero. In
the league. One, Doug Early, you know what I'm saying? You had the Jim Harrises and the pioneers before Doug, Joe Gilliam, right from Tennessee State. They call him Jefferson Street Joe. You know what I mean? Because that's how he was moving. But what I'm trying to get at, fellas, is I sent that post to y'all about Ryan Clark talking about Lamar and having to win the Super Bowl in order to further the black quarterback. What's your going at the end of 2024? That statement being said right about now. What was your feelings, UA, to what RC had to say?
I think that, like you said, we come from a time where there weren't any black quarterbacks. And honestly, the town that we're from, I can only think of one black quarterback that we've ever had, Tyrod Taylor, and they got him up out of here as soon as they could and put Josh Allen in, right? The history of black quarterbacks in the NFL is definitely different because if you have people like Bill Polian suggesting that Lamar Jackson be drafted as a wide receiver and now has more touchdowns than anybody else in the league. Obviously, he can read defenses. He's a dual threat. And as far as the Super Bowl thing is concerned, that's the measure of greatness for any quarterback. Period. It has nothing to do with whether you're black or white. That's the measure of greatness. Now, obviously, racism is going to come into it for white people, white guys, because they've always been quarterbacks. You know what I mean? There's always been a white boy that won a Super Bowl. I think that in a way it's slighted against us, but I understand the difficulty in what it would represent to have a full, looking like one of us. African-American features, our hair, from South Florida, obviously clearly black. He's not mixed. He's not coddled. And he doesn't come from a background like somebody like Mahomes, who's also a black quarterback, arguably, to a certain extent as well. I think it would be good to see that for us, and probably for young guys out there, to see just a straight black quarterback win it. But I think that's a measure of greatness with any quarterback, is whether you have a Super Bowl ring or not. That's just my opinion.
So what I want to do is I'm going to play this so we can put it in perspective. But I'm gonna push back on you a little bit, UH. Mm-hmm. Today, Patrick Mahomes is a black man.
I agree.
Whether he has his hair braided or however,
curls,
or tatted up, or however you want to describe it. His dad,
one drop of blood.
Yeah, exactly. His dad is black. So let's be clear. So let's listen to what RC had to say, y'all.
I want to say it to you, and I want to say it to Randall Cunningham, and I want to say it to Russell Wilson, and I want to say it to Michael Vick. This is the evolution of the position. Yeah. Without Randall Cunningham having to try to conform and be a pocket passer and also show his athleticism, we don't get to Michael Vick. And without Michael Vick accepting that and working to become a better passer, working to become a better leader, we don't get a Cam Newton. And if Cam Newton doesn't bring the style of play that he had the opportunity to bring from Auburn to the NFL and win an MVP doing it, we don't have a Lamar Jackson.
Correct.
See, we've needed at that position, because of all the negativity surrounding whether or not people like you can play it, we needed each of you to get to this point.
Yes.
And that's why we need Lamar Jackson to take that next step
Preach.
and hold that Lombardi trophy the same way we all cried when Doug Williams did it in the 80s.
Yes.
What do you say to what RC is saying there, Lord?
I've heard that before I actually saw the interview or whatever it was they were talking about, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. I think what Lamar does and what people see in Lamar is awkward to them. Even though he's a quarterback, the fact that he's the fastest player in the league, it throws people off. They feel like he should play a different position. But as long as he's been in the league, what he does is he's improved every single year. So now he's a quarterback that you cannot game plan for at all. Now he reads defenses better. He throws the ball. He's always throwing a good ball, but he places it in the places it's supposed to be now. This guy is phenomenal. And I think what he was saying is, as we came up in generations of quarterbacks, this is what it's led to. This guy is the prototype. Like you were saying earlier about Mahomes. Of course, Mahomes he's already yellow jacket, but he fits the profile of someone who can advertise for companies. Lamar doesn't fit the profile for companies to advertise, because he is not saying that he's blacker than, because that's not the case. It's just that he comes from a different area or a different background. His mother is his agent. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think the league even likes that. Like, Lamar is his own person. He is not trying to be like nobody else. You can't get him to be like anybody else. And it's hard for the nation, not for us, but for white America to accept him just by looking at him, by talking to him. The way he communicates is how we communicate. If you see a brother in the store grabbing a soda, he's just genuinely. He's not going to pretend. He's not going to code switch either. So it makes it difficult for the NFL to use him. And he's using them because he's getting all his money, and his mother is getting the money. So it's not going to an agent. And when you're here in Buffalo, it's like are you questioning your blackness because you don't want Josh Allen to get the MVP? You want Lamar? I say give it to the best, man. And I'm Bills Mafia all day. And right now, the MVP of the league for year 3 is that boy Lamar Jackson, man.
I'm like this. I like RC. I like Cam, but we on. It's more black quarterbacks in the league than him to be champion for Lamar.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Lamar is a two-time MVP. For me, Super Bowl MVP is what you need to be trying. Not to say that he shouldn't ball regular season, but same thing with Josh Allen. Josh Allen should give a fuck about the regular season MVP. What he should be trying to be is the Super Bowl MVP.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. Now, as far as Lamar, RC has said some things again that I don't agree with what concerns of Lamar. He said that Lamar is the most authentically black quarterback.
Yeah, see, that doesn't make any sense
in the league. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, Jalen Hurts just went to the Super Bowl because he doesn't have braids. Does that make him not authentic?
I think it's colorism, fam. You know what I'm saying? Because Lamar is dark skinned, and you know what I'm saying?
He has distinctive African American features, like I said. And I think that was his reasoning behind it, because if you look at Jalen Hurts, he may be a little bit more marketable. Patrick Mahomes may be a little bit more marketable.
Light skin.
Yeah, the light skin. So you see, it started at the top. You could start at Jalen. I taught me Patrick Mahomes being the lightest version. Then you go to Jalen Hurts. Then you go to Lamar. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way that I think that Brian is interpreting the blackness when like you Fro said, if you got one drop of blood and you black, and that's according to y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's not according to us. That's according to y'all.
I just find it funny that how they champion for Lamar when there's other black quarterbacks. The last quarterback in the NFL drafted in 2024, number 1 overall was a black quarterback. The number 2 pick was a black quarterback. There are others, and Lamar is balling. It wouldn't be no knock on him if he had the bling to go with his 2 MVPs. And that's what everybody is saying now. That's why the pressure is going to be enormous on him in the playoffs. Because they're going to be like, listen, we know what you do. You're a 2-time MVP, possibly a 3-time MVP. Now you need to be the MVP of the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so should Josh Allen also.
But Josh Allen has played well in the playoffs.
For sure.
Lamar has not. And believe me, I'm not championing European over the brother. I'm just saying what it is. And I'm not just going to sit back and march in line and just say, yeah, I've heard it from the beginning when Warren Moon had to go to Canada to show skills to come back to get the chance. It's changing, but it ain't changing at the pace that we want.
Right.
And if we really gonna trip, we need to be tripping on why there isn't any African-American owners. Let's not trip on this is a small thing at this point in time. Because guess what? Who's going to be the number 1 pick in this year's draft? And what's their nationality?
Probably Borg, right? Black quarterback.
Yeah. And it's going to continue to be that way because now the brothers are starting to get the chance to play in college and show and prove. My mom team, they didn't even draft Charlie Ward. You know what I mean? In our lifetime.
Heisman Trophy winning Charlie
National
Ward.
championship winning. Had to go pick up the ball and put it in the hole because they didn't want. So the ism has always been there. And it's always going to be there. But if we're going to pick certain things to champion, let's champion the right things. Because if Lamar Jackson don't never win a Super Bowl, he never won a Super Bowl like Donovan McNabb, like Michael Vick, and the list goes on and on, like Warren Moon, unfortunately. But there will be other brothers who do win.
Russie?
Exactly.
Yes,
but he's not black enough. He got the baddest girl in the game on his arm. He still ain't black enough.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He ain't got no blonde European. He may have had, but now he's, let me try this out.
That's that colorism. That's that colorism bullshit, though.
Colorism is
Speak on this year-end review of 2020-2024, man. Please share and subscribe. We're trying to blow up live in 2025. Speak on the isms of it all, UH.
Man, it's wild just because of when we look at the colorisms that exist within our community, the light skin and the dark skin. I've never been on that. You know what I mean? I made a red bone. I'd be like, oh, I like a red bone, but you know what? My ass will go and see my chocolate sister Shay around the corner in a minute. One of the most beautiful women that I've ever seen in my entire life. Right. You know what I mean? So I've never been one to play those games, or that's a light skin thing, or that's a light thing. Get into that. You know what I mean? And I never understood how people got into it because it doesn't do anything but separate us and make us look stupid. We don't have the luxury of not being united in as many areas as possible. Granted, white people say, oh, I'm white, but then they can break it down, oh, I'm Italian, and so on and so forth, and this, that, and the other. But at the very most, they're white. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way they look at it. They're going to look at you. I'm not going to, I ain't fucking with you because you are German and I'm French. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? But we'll be like, oh, you know what? I don't trust that nigga over there. He too dark. He got braids. Or, you know what I'm saying? So those are things that exist within our community. And one of the things about the internet that has been very revealing is the fact that we have begun to share these secrets that we kept amongst ourselves, our colorisms, our biases amongst ourselves. Now the world knows that we can be divided another way. We can divide. Oh, they don't like the dark ones, don't like the light ones, and the tall ones don't like the shit. So it's just giving other people more ammunition against us. And we're not the only community that it exists in. I told you I work around a lot of Hispanics. So what you're seeing, and I'm just gonna step on, I'm a humanist, so I'm gonna step to them for a second. So we talked about how during the elections, a lot of the Hispanics were like, oh no, Trump, even though it was against their best interest. What a lot of them are the European or Northern Mexican or Mexican Hispanics, right? Who have a problem with the darker Nicaraguans, El Salvadorians, what else is down there? Guatemalans, Panamanians, things like that. So they have colorisms within their ethos as well. And we need to be aware of that, because when it all boils down to it, the darker you get, the more problematic you seem to be to the world. And it really shouldn't be like that, especially amongst us. We should embrace each other openly and totally. Even people like Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear, oh, he's got a white wife. And so you don't know what's going on in that man's head. You know what I'm saying? You don't know, be like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what's going on in somebody's head, man. And you can't tell somebody who and how to love either. But we have to definitely love each other.
I'm glad you brought that full circle. We go into this year-end review, and I want to start it off, piggyback off of what you were just talking about. Throughout 2024, from Cat Williams, we're going to start back to the beginning. Cat really set it off with his interview with Shannon, and said it was a whole lot of shit that was going to come to light here in 2024. And me, myself, I'm like, Cat, a funny dude. Obviously, he's seen and been through a lot of ish, right? And he was foreseeing what was going to happen in this year. And that was one of the biggest things that happened in 2024 was the Shannon Cat Williams interview. You know, you think about also some of the shit that happened in 2024 within the culture, man, is going back to what you were just talking about, Don, the isms. And within the last week and a half to 2 weeks, Fat Joe went on a platform. He went on with Math Hoffa and screamed on the FBAs, Tariq Nassim, and somebody that I've definitely looked at with the raised eyebrow on some of the shit that he's paddling. I'm gonna have to show y'all the FBA hoodie that if you were down the street, you would think it was a fila, but it don't say fila. It says FBA on the joint, but it's under the fila like symbol.
These boys got merch.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man, they got merch. You know, this is America, man. You know what this?
Yeah, get to that bread. You see it? Get your own merch.
Especially
your own clothes.
in 2024. But as I was saying, Fat Joe screamed on him because Joe is of the culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you hear the Latinos saying nigga, or when you hear any other ethnicity saying it besides us, it's really it's an adjective right now. The term nigga, you know, because everybody use it. If you watch, like I sent you that crazy ass video, ATL uncensored. Talk about a crazy ass follow, ATL uncensored. They'll show all types of shit. And you see somebody out there shooting a fair one, no matter who they are or what color they are, what's the first thing they say?
Beat that nigga's ass.
You know, as they scrapping, they screaming.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? No matter who they are, not us, white motherfucker, the
Spanish,
Asians, whoever. They screaming nigga, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Fat Joe caused some heat because he kept saying nigga this and nigga that, and just like motherfuckers from New York do. You know what I'm saying?
That's real shit.
Puerto Rican friends and all types of shit, and they would drop it just like you and like we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know? You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
So Lord Jamal, as I told y'all, is on the front lines. He got the binoculars out and shit, fucking strategizing and shit. They scream at my man Sadat, yo, why you ain't speaking up for your brethren? So let me give y'all what Sadat had to say to the folks one time as we continue on this 2024 year in review.
Yeah, this is the last time I'm gonna say this, man, because I'm tired of niggas hitting me in my comments in different sections. So Sadat, you haven't said anything. How do you weigh in on the origins of hip hop? This situation with this rapper saying this. Listen, once and for all, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. You understand what I'm saying? I got my square, and as long as nothing comes in my square, y'all niggas could have civil war on the outside. You understand? Some of the niggas champion it, okay, but then some niggas look like straight up bitches, B. No, this shit, no, this. Look like a fucking bunch of bitches, B. That's why I said, don't ask me about that shit again, B. I don't give a fuck. And as long as my square is untouched, I'm good, B.
I mean, it don't get no realer than that.
That's what it comes down to.
As long as where I'm at is good, but it's hard, man, because even with him stating this, they pulled him in. Like Corleone said, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. They had the guard on the internets warn with FBA cats about the situation. Let me ask you, UA, what is your thoughts on the creation of hip hop? Do you think that it's solely us and nobody else?
I think that if you're gonna back up parts of the culture, let's back it up historically, right? So you go back to the 40s and 30s, you got black people, FBA, fundamental black Americans doing what? They're breakdancing, right? Okay. Right. So we back it up and we go to graffiti art. Who we got with that?
Got us out there bombing,
bombing the trains, right? Us and our poor ass Puerto Rican neighbors up in the Bronx, right? So then we go to hip hop. So we go to rap, scat,
shit, country.
That was all started by us, right?
Stories, yeah.
Everything, if we're going to get down to it, everything. So obviously those are the origins of rap. Jazz, blah, blah, blah. All these basically every American musical art form, probably with the exception of bluegrass or some wild shit, was started by a black person. That's where I stand on that. I don't care if it was Jose in the room with me spray painting. I don't care if the Rocksteady crew had 2 Dominicans and a Puerto Rican. We started the shit. So I'm like Sadat. I know within myself where what it's about. So I'm not gonna go back and forth with anybody about it. I'm just not. It's a waste of energy. And you're never going to be able to, like, certain things you can add hip hop. I mean, you can add music to now because they tell you never to discuss race, politics, and sex because you're never going to be able to change somebody's opinion about them, right? You can probably add hip hop to that as well because I'm not going to sit there and tell you that this originated back in the 65 when it was. Don't make a difference because you got in your mind. You've done your own little bit of research to favor your opinion and your outlook. So it may be one of those things that you never can really win with. But obviously, we know what it is. So that's the thing about it, P. And I'm coming to you next. Like your breakdown right there, Don, when you say taking it back to the 40s and the 50s to the guys on the stage, basically rhyming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, we so fucked up that now the argument is it didn't start in New York because of that, because of the brothers on the stage in the 40s and 50s up there rhyming. So now hip hop, this is where we at right now in 2024. This is what they battling about. And in my mind, it's okay. Why? It don't make no sense. What's your thoughts on that, Lord?
That's weird because the actual term hip hop is from New York City. That's how it started. You know what I'm saying? With the DJs and the MC not actually rhyming, but just on the mic hyping up the DJ. That's where the term hip hop came from. But of course we started hip hop. There's people that came along for the ride that we invited to hip hop with us. But I think with Fat Joe is just because he's a Latino man, I think there's a bit of jealousy involved in the fact that he can't say that Latinos were originators of hip hop or they had a huge hand in it. But you didn't create it. We created it. So I'm like Sadat X also, man. I'm not going to argue over who created hip hop when I know who created hip hop, who even created the term hip hop. And for people to say that it wasn't created in New York City just because there was a time period where people were rhyming over music back then, that doesn't mean it was actual hip hop, because hip hop has elements to it, as in graffiti art, breakdancing, and lyricism. Just because you rhyme over a beat doesn't make you hip hop. You can be a rapper, but that doesn't make you hip hop. And hip hop originated in the Bronx. And ain't nobody gonna knock me off that square right there. I tell you that much.
Now let me ask you this, D. Let me ask you this, because this is another side of this is the Busta Rhymes side of it, right? Busta Rhymes gets on, and he said it's not too long ago, I think a while ago actually, on Drink Champs, and he was like, their hip hop needs to acknowledge the fact that Kool Herc, who quote unquote started hip hop, was Jamaican. So hip hop was birthed basically by Jamaicans. They want their piece too. Jamaicans want their piece too. How do you feel about that?
My thing is, if let's put VP Harris in it. She's Jamaican, right? We all got on her side because she's black. You Jamaican, you're black.
That's it.
You're black. It doesn't matter if you're Jamaican or Haitian or whatever. My soon-to-be son-in-law is Haitian. I don't see him as not being black. He's black. So it just goes down to you getting really specific, like earlier when you said white people say I'm Irish and I'm German, but when it come down to it, when they come around that corner,
exactly.
So what Busta Rhymes can say all he want to say, but when we come around that corner and you see a Jamaican, you see a black person. So that's how I feel about that.
So let me give y'all the general one time.
No, don't tell me. No, please.
These broke niggas is, right? All of this shit about your niggas is broken, that's the new racism. Okay? Like classism and talk about niggas is broke. Like the last I checked, Puerto Ricans in the Bronx is broke too. So what are we talking about here? What's all of this taking on the oppressor's disdain for people that don't have money? Everyday working class people. And then you want to talk about racism, like people's being racist or discriminatory against you, yet you the first one to talk about these broke niggas. A bunch of people do that. And to me, it just reeks of insecurity. It just reeks of, because if you didn't have money, if you didn't have these things, would you really have all the people around you supporting you? Would you really have loyalty like that as a man? If people didn't think that they can get something from you, if you wasn't that guy for the longest time, I think this was a good example of how money creates a certain form of arrogance, where you have a lack of self-awareness as to who you are and who you really stand for inside this industry. Like he thought that because he had more money than me and platinum records, that somehow he was more influential than me. And that he was that he meant more to the hip hop culture. And he found a rude awakening by saying that nut ass shit that he said. To say Lord Jamar's a Looney Tunes and yeah, I was the wackest one out of Brand Nubian. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. To say that I'm the wackest one in Brand Nubian is like saying Clyde Drexler was the wackest one on the Dream Team. Or pick any one of them on the Dream Team. There is no whack one in Brand Nubian. Brand Nubian is a dream team, is an all-star team. But now when you say something like that, you open yourself up for criticism.
Mm.
And as a person who don't even write their own music, who don't even write their own raps, who is in a crew of phenomenal rappers, dare I say you, sir, were the wackest one in the crew. Let's be clear. You, sir, was the wackest one in Terror Squad. Like, everybody in Terror Squad is better than Fat Joe. Let's be clear. So to say that about me was crazy. And to me, it felt like he was trying to assassinate my character, to say he was a legend. First of all, you see my, again, hip-hop legend hat on. You can zoom in. Yeah, there you go. And to try to think that you could demote me is crazy. It's diabolical. If you don't write your own lyrics, I'm sorry, sir, you don't have the qualifications to think you could demote me because you're upset.
That's, to sum it up, man, we are men of hip hop. We basically came when it was walking to seeing it to be jet setting. And what Lord Jamal's talking about is the reason why the downfall of hip hop is because it became super materialism and not about the culture. And then it became more about what I look like and my persona more so than actually what I'm saying. This 2024 year in the culture, man, it's been funny. Don, I'm coming to you because you said that you had something that you wanted to say on the biggest beef that happened in 2024 hip hop culture. And that what I'm talking about is I'm talking about Mr. Kendrick Lamar and Mr. Aubrey. What's his last name, P?
Graham.
Aubrey Graham, Drake.
Aubrey Graham. Again, as men of a certain age, obviously that quarrel did not grab us. I'm speaking for myself. It didn't grab me quite like other battles throughout the history of hip hop because, again, I'm a man of a certain age and I pay and I move a lot different than I did 20, 30 years ago. But seeing as though that was the biggest thing in hip hop this year, UH, besides Puff, which we'll get to later. But what's your thoughts?
That's wild that we've seen a lot of battles from the beginning of hip hop. And this morning, for some strange reason, I just woke up and I just started watching the whole Kendrick Lamar Drake situation. And I was like, you know what? Let me just skip to the end of it. Let me skip to Not Like Us and get my hands on that. And I listened to it and I watched a bunch of reactions and I watched the breakdown of the things that he was talking about, the way that he was dissing Drake. And I think your boy is done. I really do think that he's done, man. And in the hip hop arena, I think he's done. And I think that unless he truly shifts his lane, I don't think he can come back in hip hop. Put it that way. I think he really needs to come back in another genre or just go straight pop because all his respect has been taken from him by the hip hop community, real hip hop heads, not the ones that just got onto it in the 2000s or whatever. People like us who grown up with it, who literally, like I've always compared it to a brother of mine. Like we literally are the same age. It's a situation where it's crazy to see that someone as inauthentic as hip hop had become. It's good to see that lyrical quality, integrity, and BA is back on top of hip hop. But now we need to get the posers out, man. And I'm just really, I watched a lot of people react to the video, and I really, like I said, I really took a good 3 hours this morning and looked at that beef, and I don't see any coming back. Jay was able to come back from Nas, Mobb Deep. Fat Joe was able to come back from the 50 thing. MC Shed was never really on that pathway because of the record label that he was on. He still maintained a certain amount of get back. But the one thing about is with all these battles, no one ever lost respect from the hip hop community. And I think that's really big. And that's probably the word of the year is respect when it comes to politics, when it comes to hip hop, when it comes to sports. If we look at everything, that you definitely had to sit back and see how people were disrespecting or respecting something. And I think that Drake will never be respected by a true hip hop community again.
So you think he nuked him, huh, man?
Yeah, it's over. It's over, man. Like I watched the video, like at first I listened to the song because the song is banging. You know, I mean, the song is crazy. The beat, mustard on the beat, hope, that joint is hard. It's a classic. You know what I'm saying? Right. The beat is bang. But then when I got to watch the actual video, and I saw the part how he did, and I realized that Drake had just put a song out the night before, and this dude came the next day with that. Literally 10 hours later, that joint dropped. And when it dropped, and he had the family in there, he was beating up the owl in the video. Oh, it was terrible, yo. It was terrible, dog. It was bad, man. Drake got it. Drake ran through Meek Mill with the back-to-back joint. That joint was hard too. And that's why I picked Drake. I figured that since he had more battle experience and at this level that he'd come out victorious. But, was I wrong? I was wrong, and I have no problem admitting to it. And I'll say it again. I was bamboozled. I was hoodwinked and led astray because Kendrick Lamar bodied him, yo. He bodied him. I don't think it's no coming back.
I think the only way, fam, he can come back is if he admits defeat.
Yeah.
And then combines and does something with Kendrick. You remember Jay-Z was like, I declare peace when he brought Nas out? Because Jay knew, even though Jay is nice lyrically, he knew he had to move on to other business ventures. Because if you're just going to continue to try to battle Nas, you are going to lose. It's just not gonna happen. You're not going to beat this guy. So I think Drake, Aubrey Graham, should probably go ahead and admit you got nuked, B. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap. So try to collaborate instead of trying to get the record label to sue because you lost the battle. Come on, man. That's not hip hop.
You think Drake need to bend the knee?
Man, he needs
just
to go.
Yeah, I mean that Black Republicans is a hard joint though too with Jay-Z and Nas. That joint is crazy. That's a crazy joint.
But yo, check this out. Check this out. Got it?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, boo.
Wow, they took the whole Italian F.
They took the Fila joint. It was like, give me that.
The whole Philip Drummond F off the joint.
What's up with the odd ass price though? $47.58. What is that?
Yo, that F, that might be trademark infringement with that F, fam. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? The most made in America type shit ever. They done took the whole Fila vibe and made
took the F, man.
What's up with the $47.58? That's what I want to know. What? Nick, charge me $49.99, $50. Don't hit me with the $40.
Just go ahead with the $49.99.
What is that?
It might be some significance with the $47.58. You never know.
Let's get a knowledge of the $47.58.
Yeah, man.
7 acres and 58 mules. I don't know.
I had to get that to y'all, man. And the end year review one time, the FBA gear. You know what I'm saying, man? We supposed to take y'all serious.
Y'all about 7 acres.
Yeah, man. At least get the green, black, and red in or something.
Is it red, white, and blue?
Red, white, and blue. Red, white.
Oh, I didn't even peep it because it was so terrible. It's red, white, and blue.
Yeah, man.
No red, black, and green.
Yeah.
Yo, do y'all remember watching Different Strokes back in the day? And Philip Drummond had a sweatsuit on.
Yeah.
With the F on it.
Yeah, the Harpy light joints, yo.
Man, I was like, yo, where can I get one of them joints at, man? But man, they just snatched the F off Philip Drummond's chest and the world don't move.
You know what I'm saying, man? But
what is wrong with these dudes, man?
Yeah, man. Before we go on, man, and we get off the 2024 of the year in hip hop, man. Salute to Kendrick Lamar, man.
No doubt. Way to bring it back, Kendrick.
You know what I mean? For
The
going
essence. Yes, sir.
napalm on that cat. But
that cat.
yeah, that
That
cat.
cat.
We gotta come full circle, man, and come to Puff.
Oh,
At the 2024, man, who could have ever told us, man, that Puff was gonna be behind bars? That's crazy. You said ob. Got you going crazy, yo.
Man, that's my.
You cutting and scratching around that moment.
Man, I'm just like, it's wild because with Puff, man, I just like every scene. It's like it's not like one of those things we talked about. Everybody knew Puff was wild. He did all these different types of things, and you know what I'm saying. And Puff parties was off the chain, and some people even had aspirations to be at Puff parties and willing to do whatever they could to get into a Puff party. And now everybody's running scared. You know what I mean? Because it's really came out that this dude was a deviant. Now, earlier this week, I had a little bit of time in the office, so I went with my Puff deep dive. OMG. Lord. Now, my thing about Puff situation is that obviously he was a deviant, right? But somebody said something to me. I was watching something, and this guy said something that was very important. He said, people who take ecstasy continuously over a period of 20 years, it just fries their brain and turns them into a different type of person. He's Irv Gotti. Remember how Irv Gotti's always talking about how bad he was with it, Nori. All these dudes from the 90s were big ecstasy dudes. So if Puffy, who was caught with pink cocaine when he was arrested, which with pink cocaine is MDMA, which is ecstasy, cocaine and ketamine. The cat drinking. So that was a Puffy's mix, man. So the more I delve into this dude, I'm like, wow, this dude was really doing a lot. But we also have to keep in mind of the Diageo situation. He just won a major lawsuit from one of the world's biggest companies. So, like we said, there's always going to be something that people can dig up on you, whether it's the feds, whether it's your next door neighbor. Somebody's got something on you at all times, man. It's just a matter of when they want to bring it out. And I did not expect it to come out like this, man. Puff, bruh. Now, I do got a question, though. How wild was that R. Kelly Puff Daddy studio session? Can you imagine the debauchery that went on at that? Because that song is banging. The Satisfy You joint is banging. I'll listen to that probably once a week. You know what I'm saying?
Song with R. Kelly and Puff. Refresh my memory.
Do what I do just to satisfy you. Ain't nobody do you like I do.
Yeah, sing that shit.
Never make love to you like I do. So give it to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a hard joint. It's a club banger. But just imagine the debauchery. Now that we look at it 22 years back and look at what the hell was these dudes really doing? What kind of collaboration was that? Who knows what the fuck kind of bullshit? Excuse me. Who knows what really went on with these two cats? You know what I'm saying? So it just shows you, man, that you can't make nobody your hero because a hero's a sandwich in a dead
word life.
P, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Puff going into 2025, Lord?
It's an issue of power, man. He had too much. He thought he had too much power, and I think with the Cassie videotape coming out, I think after that it was all downhill because if you can visualize him beating a woman, and that's not good to the eye of anyone. And the fact that I was saying about Diageo, you thought you had so much power that you can go after one of the hugest distributors of alcohol, and it failed you. So when that fails, they're going to look into you also. So I think Puff just his ego is why he is where he is. It just got out of control. And I think a lot of it is, I'm not going to say it's unfair that he is where he is because he put himself in that position, but there's a lot of other people who've done much worse who are not in jail. And I think that's, again, we can go back to the classism and racism when it comes to that. We're going to put this guy away because if you don't let him go to jail, if you don't put him in jail, he can create generational wealth for his family. So they also want to put a stop to that when it comes to generational wealth. So I feel bad, but I don't, but I do, because we are targeted. We said that on the show previously, like we are targeted. So we have to walk on eggshells, man. And it's horrible.
I'm glad you mentioned that too about the generational wealth. I watched a lot of his. I watched this guy on YouTube. Shouts out to FD Signifiers. Good watch, man. Nice deep drops. But really, basically, over the last year before Puff got arrested, what he was talking about is empowering Black people.
Yeah.
And he literally came out and said, "I'm a Black nationalist," which I'm gonna keep that to myself. But he came out and said he was a Black nationalist. So I think that him taking that stance, along with the fact that he had that major situation with Diageo, I think that made for a bad mix, bro.
Huge target on his back.
Yeah. Take that.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because yesterday I was going to play this for y'all. Yesterday a video came out. I don't know if it was iJizzle or what, but they had a picture of Puff in jail riding the motorcycle around the cell. Like he had a whole pod, just him. And he was in the joint riding the bike. I'm about to show y'all that because the video has been deleted. It's been scrubbed. I was just going to show it to y'all. And then when I clicked on the link, it says the video has been deleted, but I still got the actual picture of the link. I'm about to show it to y'all now.
He could never make love to you like I do.
All right, man.
That's a joint.
Puff got his own general population wing probably in the spot.
The boy went through massive withdrawal.
Yeah, especially with that mix you was just talking about.
Yeah, coke, ecstasy, and ketamine. Oh my God.
Using a turkey baster to put this.
Cocaine. Jesus. Peak cocaine, huh?
Can y'all see it?
Yes, sir.
So this was the actual video of him riding the motorcycle, just riding around in a circle in the lockup there, man. But they deleted the video. How it got out, that's what it says. Is it fake or is it real?
Wow. I see. You know what? Sometimes I think stuff be AI, but I don't know.
That's some good ass AI.
I actually watched the shit yesterday, and it was only so far he could ride. He could ride and then turn around and ride this way. You know what I mean? I'm like, that shit crazy. But I can see this nigga got money, so he gonna have certain privileges and certain things. But you would think, damn, a whole motorcycle, man.
That's a safety issue too, fam.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild.
So as we continue on this in-year review, man, let's move to the heavy and let's move to the politics of it, 2020. Let me come to you first on this one, Panero.
Yes, sir.
What do you think lies ahead for VP Harris? What do you think her next moves are going to be going forward?
Wow. I said before that I thought she was just going to lay low and try to do something regarding president-elect, because I really don't think that this election was, again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but with Elon Musk being involved, I think it was rigged, to be honest with you. But it is what it is from this point. But I think what she's going to do is, after these 4 years, I think she's going to probably run again. And I think she'll have a good chance of winning. But in the meantime, in the backgrounds, she's going to be doing her due diligence when it comes to whatever policies that Trump is going to try to invoke to make sure that they don't happen, if she can, because obviously the House and the Senate and the Supreme Court is all Republican. So actually, what can she do? But be steadfast, stay on her square like we stay on our square, and continue to help as many people as she could possibly help in the position that she's in, you know.
Yeah, I've heard some talk about her possibly running for governor of California, something of that nature.
She should win that, though, if she attempted to. That should.
What's your thoughts on VP Harris going forward? Think she's done politicking?
I think she should dip.
What?
I think she should dip. I think her, Obama, Nancy Pelosi, all these boys that Trump has his eye on should dip. I really do. I feel I don't have a and I'm an eternal optimist. I'm an eternal optimist. I don't have a good feeling about what's to come for, probably for his political enemies. I don't.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
So you're saying the dip from what he may try to do to them.
Yeah, just exactly. I would, if I was the Obamas, if I was Nancy Pelosi, I would just move to another country. I really would, in the interim. You know what I mean? So that would be just do a J plan, just to see how things shake out the first couple of months.
Is she back yet?
No.
She's
She's in Riyadh right now. I think last time I checked, she was in Riyadh. Well, she's probably traveling around with some prince or something like that. Who knows what Jay? But yeah, man, I would dip, man, and hopefully she can be back in the political scene in a couple of years if we still have a democracy. It's just if I was one of them, I would just dip. That's all I really have to say.
So, do you think basically she was set up to fail? It was what, less than 100 days when she grabbed the baton. Thinking back on it, do you think that Joe Biden should have said then that he was going to step down?
I think she was set up to fail, Fro, but I don't think it was purposely done for her to be set up to fail. I think it was more of Joe Biden's ego is a reason why she was put in the forefront without a lot of days to campaign. Like, he shouldn't have been wavering on whether he should run again or not. But his ego was like, I'm going to run again. I'm the incumbent, so I'm going to defend my presidency. But he took too long, which eventually set her up to fail. Even though she still ran a pretty good campaign, but if she had more time, it could have been better. So, yes, she was set up to fail, but I don't think it was done purposely or maliciously. I think it was all Joe Biden's ego.
So what's your thoughts on Joe's doing all these commutes on the federal people that were looking at death sentences? I think he commuted your man Southwest T. I'm not a BMF watcher or anything of that nature. I'm not familiar with Southwest T's. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Southwest T's.
Southwest T.
Yeah. But here it is right here. I'm about to give it to you. Terry Southwest T felony granted clemency by President Biden, released due to health issues.
Yeah. Okay, good.
He commuted a lot of people that was on death row. He didn't commute your boy Dylan Roof. His ass is still going to receive the needle or the chair or however they get down in South Carolina. But me, man, politically wise, it was frustrating. Because it's like this, man. They knew when he won how old he was going to be in 2024. The Democrats did not strategically put a plan in place for victory. For them to think that Joe Biden at his age would be able to see another 4 years through, that was poorly planned on the DNC side from off the muscle. Also, man, as we close out 2024, and the person for me who's politically wise, who's come in and been a gorilla in the room, is this South African cat, Elon Musk. And it's crazy that these Europeans would let a South African come in and be basically the head of Voltron. This past week, he and Vivek Ramaswamy has been talking about this HB1 visa. They're getting the brightest minds from all over the world and giving them this visa to come work. Let's check this out really quick.
You work for these companies, they own you. And that's what, if you're coming on one of these visas and you work for these companies, they own you. And that's what they want. This is why they don't want to hire Americans. It's not because they're not enough smart Americans. What they want is employees who know that if they don't do everything that they're told, they'll deport them. They'll have them deported by firing them. So what Coulter said is what these guys want is they don't want employees. They want indentured servants. And she's absolutely right. And this is why MAGA is right on this point, is that you saying there's not enough qualified Americans is BS. You want Indians because you can work them like dogs and threaten to deport them if they don't go along with the program. And so that's number one. But number two is Vivek went one step further. Is he went after American culture. What he said was Americans don't work hard from birth. In high school, that we worship the prom queen and the quarterback, and we screw around too much. We watch too much TV. We have too much fun. We go to the movies too much, and we should be grinding. And he talks about how Asian parents make their kids stay home and work. They don't let them go out and do all this nonsense and have all this fun. They make sure they study and work hard. And MAGA is just, what the hell are you talking about, man? That's not the kind of country we want. That's certainly not the MAGA culture. You know, those guys are living out their glory days of their high school football days in their minds. And to have Vivek say, you guys are a bunch of slackers and American culture sucks, so we need to bring in more Indians. Man, that ain't playing, man.
So UH, how is that going to play with these Europeans now that Vivek, Mr. Indian, South Asian himself, is pointing the finger at Europeans, not at black folks, but he pointing at the Europeans, saying that y'all fat and lazy and watch too much TV and y'all worried about the wrong shit. You should be trying to give brains to the valedictorian, not the quarterback. That's not who you should be trying to give brains to. You should be trying to give brains to the class president. That's who you should be giving brains to. How you think that's going to go over?
I think it's going to go over great with Americans because you've got people who aren't Americans deciding on what Americans should do. Come on, man. Listen to what this dude just said. Listen to what he just said. He just said that, number one, that all these white, like the guy said at the end, all these guys that had a little high school, little friendships, reunions, and living their little glory days. Think about boys we know from the town. You know what I'm saying? It was still in the town, just living off their fame from high school, basketball or football. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? We know it, and we're black. So to a white boy who ain't doing nothing but a mechanic at a car shop, for you to tell him that he was stupid and that he was lazy, and that now we got some people come in and take his job. It took the jobs, like South Park said. They got people coming in taking jobs that they were never qualified for, by someone who really who's not a part of American culture. And that's what I can do. Like I told you, I can deal with Trump. It's the people around him that are going to make the difference. Elon Musk grew up in apartheid. Do you think he has any respect for any person of color? Absolutely fucking not. But they want to make him a hero because he got a cool little cheap ass car, electric car. Oh, okay. Vivek Ramaswamy.
The cool part is suspect, but continue.
I'm just saying, they think it's cool. I don't, but clearly they do. If he's been able to be exactly the protractor. And, speaking of the protractor, I dropped a video last week where a dude, it was like $1 million in Texas trucks had "fuck Elon" written on them on a car lot. But it goes back to people who didn't grow up in America, who aren't foundational Americans, regardless of being black or white. They're not foundational Americans, so they really don't have a grasp on how America works.
Illegal immigrants, maybe. I know they came because they came over on that
H1N1. They came over the H1N1 visa themselves. So how can you talk about American for Americans by Americans, and you got these two people who don't know about American culture basically going to run the ship? This is going to be incredibly hilarious to me. Incredibly hilarious to me. I am so glad that the state of Georgia will allow you to have an ounce of marijuana for personal use. That's all I got to say.
This is what they voted for. They voted for Elon and Vivek to put their weight on the scales. And like I said in the pre-meeting, man, they got Trump by the balls because Mr. Trump is my white skin and all of this. And bless you. And then he comes and gives his blessing and says, "Oh, I love those visas. I have plenty of those workers at my compound in Mar-a-Lago," not knowing he was talking about a whole different visa
class,
of visa than what these two clowns are talking about?
He's clueless, man. He's not a threat, man. He's like, people don't understand.
Threat though, because he's a puppet.
Yeah, he's a puppet. Yeah, but him personally, I don't take him as a threat. I take the people around him as far more threatening than he is.
Without a doubt. What's your thoughts when you hear that little clip I played for you, Lord?
The irony of it. See, this is people who are against diversion, inclusion, DEI.
How you take that?
Yet you're getting people to come from other countries. So it's the same thing, but because it's theirs, it's not considered DEI. This is the fuck around and find out part of you voting for Trump. Now you vote for Trump, and this is what happens. So it's the irony is just ridiculous, and everything is gonna be in our face. It's gonna be in the people's face who actually voted for Trump. They're probably wondering what's going on. There was a lady that I saw. She was doing an interview, and her daughter has special needs, and she goes to a school where they attend to her special needs. So she was like, they're going to get rid of the Department of Education. Like, well, that's not going to affect my daughter. She has special needs. They were like, yes, it's going to affect your daughter. Because when they get rid of the Department of Education, they're going to get rid of that department that helps your daughter. She said, Trump wouldn't do that to my daughter.
Dummy.
Yes. It's just not, it's not you. There's another gentleman who has a company who does roofing, and he has undocumented workers. And they stopped at a gas station. They got rounded up already. So he was like, thought they were going to get rid of the bad ones, the bad undocumented workers. Oh, all of them. So now you don't have anyone to put your rules on, and you're scrambling to find people to work. And when you're looking for someone that's an actual citizen to work, they're like, you don't have to pay me. Now you got to pay me. I need dental. I need medical. I need blase split. Fuck around and find out. This is what you asked for. This is what you're getting. When Trump says, I'm going to have tariffs on Canada. I live very close, as gentlemen, to Canada. They said, we'll cut your electricity off, B. Just that simple. All of the states that border Canada controls a lot of our electricity. Go ahead and put the tariffs. Go ahead with the tariffs. We'll shut y'all down so quick because he was like, I have to care about Ontarians. You're going to put a tariff on me? I'm going to do something to you. So it's like a bunch of rhetoric. Is it going to really happen? Or are you just saying this because you wanted to get elected? Because it's going to affect us greatly. It's dangerous, man. And this shit is going to be ridiculous.
It's called cause and effect.
Exactly.
I got one more for y'all. Here we go.
What I need every immigrant, first gen and second gen American to understand very deeply. No matter how much you try to assimilate, no matter how much you try to talk like them, dress like them, move up the corporate ladder, take the bullshit up the ass relentlessly, you are always going to just be another fucking slur to them.
Exactly.
Because it's so funny. What Vivek Ramaswamy is talking about in his tweet, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, Vivek essentially made a tweet stating that Americans need to prioritize more so the valedictorian over the jock. They need to prioritize the math Olympiad over the fucking, some other nonsense that he talked it in his head. And I think what's funny about that, more so than anything else, is that what he wants is for Americans to have zero work-life balance. What he is describing, all of these parents who immigrate into the U.S. and give birth to children here or bring children here, and then raise them to have no social life, no social skills, but literally can work for a corporation day in and day out, asking for no time off, no paid leave, no sick leave, none of that. They want you to be a robot. They want you to be another cog in the machine for capitalism. And so many immigrants come to the United States thinking that if they just do that, if they just be the cog in the machine, and all these ungrateful Americans are just being so ungrateful and don't want to work and all that shit, they can just rise up. And very obviously by the fucking slurs that are being hurled at this man, who by all intents and purposes is going to be one of the most powerful people in America, it should be incredibly telling that they never gave a fuck about you. You were always a token and you were going to get spent at some point or another. And I also think it should be more telling to more immigrants that the only thing that people seem to value in you as a human being with complex ideas and thoughts is the work in which you will put into the system. Not who you are, not anything about your culture, not anything about the arts and the creativity that you have, only that you can work in the machine and shut up and not complain about it. That's all they want out of you. And if you can't do that, they are simply going to replace you with somebody else who will. So why on God's green earth are you giving all of your attention, all of your time, all of your capabilities to people who don't care about you in the name of trying to find the American dream? And I say this as somebody who is first gen. I did the bullshit. I got the engineering degree. I wasted away much of my teen years and early adulthood trying to be a part of this fucking system because it felt like that's what I was supposed to do. My parents had immigrated here. They had given up the lives in which they knew to try to give their children whatever they could. And all I ended up seeing out of that was my mother, who was overworked and overrun by the state, who never was promoted, even after getting her master's degree. And I recognized, why the fuck would I bend over backward for a corporation of any fucking kind who is just going to use me as a diversity pick and throw me away when I'm no longer worth it? I will work as much as I need to get that fucking paycheck and go the fuck home. And if more immigrants understood this, if more first gen, second gen understood this, there wouldn't even need to be this nonsense of sending all these jobs other places. And they are literally just looking for cheaper labor. They are literally using you for cheaper labor because you won't complain. So when you're barely making it by, when you're suffering, when you have no life outside of your job, you have to understand that you're placating to the violent system because you think you're above all these Americans who don't want to work, and they still fucking you over. So let's think a little bit smarter and more critically about these systems and the global impact that they have.
So she's telling them, like, listen, y'all just a pawn in the game as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They talking about they bringing over these Indians and whomever else to run these companies because of their education. Nah, it's because y'all can pay
labor too. Yeah,
y'all can pay them much lower than they gonna have to pay Don, who got his masters and wants to be paid like someone who has their masters.
Exactly.
And the bottom line is, why am I going to pay Don extraordinary amounts of money when I can play Guzman or Sabaya?
Exactly.
50% of what I'm going to pay Don.
I really don't know what to say about this dude. Like I said, man, I expect pure chaos. I really do. And it's going to be, I'm just sitting back and waiting and watching the wheel slowly start to turn as we get closer to January 6th, which is actually, if I'm not mistaken, the day that they certify the election, right? So it's interesting. I was watching a program yesterday on YouTube, and the guy was talking about how people are actually deporting themselves because people are just taking their stuff and just leaving because they're not sure of what's going to happen. Then there are some people who say, oh, he's not going to do anything, this, that, and the other. So it's going to be interesting to watch how his policies are implemented. And as far as the immigrants and everything are concerned, I've noticed that because like I went to city honors and all that type of stuff. So we had people who were Russian or different Asians and stuff like that. And I noticed that they weren't very sociable. They just weren't like us. Right. And that's something that is going to ring true for a lot of people next year, is that they're going to realize that these people, Vivek and Elon and Stephen Miller and the other dude, what's the guy that got with the bass problem? Steve Bannon, all these guys are not like the average American.
Right.
You know? They don't think like us. They don't have the same morals and ethics and wishes and desires. They're a bunch of rich people who want to do whatever the fuck they want to do whenever they want to do it, and have somebody else and pay somebody a little bit of money if they don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So that's where we are, man. And it's just going to be interesting to watch as this unfolds over the next 4 years.
We got audio of Musk saying there's going to be pain, right?
Yes, sir.
We got audio of that. But see, let me ask you this, P. Do you think the new wave is going to be, instead of shooting up schools, shooting up CEOs?
It's already started. And I think I would hate to say that it's going to be a new wave, but because you don't want to see people getting killed, anybody getting killed. But when you have these insurance companies and these people that run these insurance companies inadvertently killing people cleanly, you know what I'm saying, by not accepting or by denying them, I should say, denying them coverage for certain things and denying them continuously, where people are dying because they're being denied by these insurance companies, and then someone goes after the head of the insurance company. I think Chris Rock said it pretty clearly on the Saturday Night Live. He was on Saturday night a couple of weeks ago. He was like, sometimes drug dealers get killed. This is what happens. Everything is full circle. It may be slow, it may be incremental, 360, but we all know that everything is 360. And I think that will be the new incremental. It's not going to be on a regular basis, but that is going to be the new wave.
But you know what, though? These dudes like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, if they will fucking rain on the Capitol, they'll
rain on them.
Yeah, these white boys ain't going for it. It's like I said, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And I actually think it's going to make Americans, average Americans, more close, right? Because what we're starting to see now is they're going to see the difference between racism and classism.
Classism, right.
Because classism is going to become more and more prevalent the deeper we go into this guy's administration. The oligarchy structure, the rich, the elites, business deregulation. The man is talking about getting rid of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Man, the man is talking about getting rid of the Veterans Administration.
Yeah.
Are you serious? So it's going to be interesting, like you say, bro, to see how these average Americans, the ones that were screaming, they took the jobs, the ones that are screaming at, are going to react when pillars of American society, literally pillars of American society and commerce, are gone. Yep. So it's gonna be interesting, man. I would not want to have my money in the stock market right now. I would not.
2024 was, as I said, for me, man, it was really, it had its peaks and its valleys, man. Just 2 to 3 days ago, we saw that Greg Gumbel passed away.
Yeah, man.
Damn. Selection show will never be the same, boy.
Yeah, man. Exactly. Once again, we are men of a certain age. We saw these people come up and take off in their careers.
Today's show.
Man.
That's Brian.
That's Brian. It's Brian.
Greg was a sports guy.
Greg was a sports guy. The chubby one. Yep.
Yeah.
And also this year we lost DJ Clark Clint. I failed to mention his name in a couple pods when he passed away. But you know,
Clark Kent?
Yeah, DJ Clark Kent. Yeah.
The sneaker dude?
Yeah.
There you go.
You didn't know?
No, son.
Yeah, man. DJ Clark.
Oh, damn.
I want to say October, maybe late October, early.
Yeah.
Wow.
He just lost Ricky Run too. I text y'all boys about Ricky Henderson, man.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing, man. I watch First Take and get up before I start my day at work. And they didn't mention Ricky Henderson once on
crazy
the program, man. I'm like, Ricky Henderson is an icon.
He was too black. He was too black for their ass. That's what it is.
It's a shame that they didn't give him his flowers, man.
They need to. Shout out to Ricky.
Yeah, shout out to Ricky Henderson and everybody out there who lost loved ones. I gained a family member. I am once again a great uncle. My brother's middle daughter had a little boy in December, middle December.
Okay.
Early December, as they say. The whole life cycle. It ends for some and it begins for others, man. Before we wrap up, man, as we talked about earlier in the show, that we are the sole controllers of everything. that us as a people, if it was no us, it wouldn't be really none of this shit. You know what I mean? So let's get into that real quick on some of the things that we as a people have done.
You're still committed to being a racist in America? It sucks for you because you're going to have to give up your smartphone. That's right. A lot of the crucial technology that went into the development of the smartphone was created by Black Americans, and many of them attended historically Black colleges and universities. We'll start with James West, a Hampton University graduate who invented and patented microphone foilet technology, which is used in over 90% of microphones to this day. And the powerhouse, Dr. Shirley Jackson, who got her bachelor's, master's, and PhD in physics from MIT, the first Black American woman to do. Her work and research led directly to the creation of touch-tone telephones, fiber optics, call waiting, and caller ID, so you don't miss any calls when you're out burning crosses. Mark Hanna advanced 3D graphic technology to the point it's used in everything with a screen, from everything from movies to games that you play on your phone. And Dr. Gladys West, a brilliant mathematician from Virginia State University who helped to figure out the geodetic effect on the Earth, which helped us to enable pinpoint accuracy with GPS. Dr. Valerie Thomas, a hidden figure you've never heard of from Morgan State University, who was so brilliant she helped teach the NASA scientists how to interpret and compute satellite data from the Landsat satellite program, which she headed. She also patented the illusion transmitter, which we know is 3D imaging and is used on just about every screen there is today. Lisa Golofter, one of the most well-known Black American female tech leaders in the world. Her and her team are the ones that came up with the animated GIFs that you love to send to your friends. And Mark Dean, one of the chief architects of the first gigahertz computer chip, the first IBM PC, the color monitor, and the industry standard architecture system, aka the ISA. And the OG of them all, Jesse Eugene Russell, a Tennessee State University graduate who led the team, AT&T, to create digital wireless networks, taking us out of the radio and analog age into the digital. It's how we use data to this day. And since we know that racists are never hypocrites, we're going to set up drop-off bins in your town where you can drop off these smartphones that there's no way that you can use anymore, so we can give them to people who can appreciate the men and women who created the technology behind it. Have a great day.
And that was a white man running that down.
Have a great day, he said after he said that.
You know what I'm saying? And for motherfuckers like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, those was Black folk.
Exactly.
From Black schools who put it down. So for y'all motherfuckers to come to our country and denigrate us and say what we ain't doing, why the fuck is you here?
Exactly.
Take your ass back to India and take your ass back to Africa, Elon. Exactly. If it's so fucked up and we so lazy here. But again, man, it just goes to show they're not like us. Shout out to Kendrick, right? And they don't teach us this shit in school, so that we're not gonna walk around with our chest out, feeling proud, knowing that it's because of someone that looks like me that we have IBM computers. You know, we have
or a light bulb around this motherfucker.
Right. It's so much stuff that Black people have basically contributed to society. It's baffling, but you know why they don't want us to know. It's because they want to keep us down.
Yes.
Anything you got to say before we wrap here on 2024?
Yeah, man, for 2024, man, let's just take our lessons that we learned in 2024, the things that we've seen. And I'm always going to be a red-blooded American. I'm never expected, and I'm not scared. I'm anxious as to see where 2025 is going to take us. But I will say that the times and the comforts that our country has provided for us to this point has been better than any other place I could ever imagine being. Even though there's struggles, even though we've had our history as far as racism from 1619 all the way up to 2024 with the election and the effects of it. I still believe in the magic of Black people, the determination of Black people, and the godliness of Black people. more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that if we got through all the things that we've gotten through before, we definitely can get through. I just want us to be better, all Americans, all Black people, just to be better. I say the same thing every week. Just be better and be more positive. Just get some love out there, because it's going to be, like your boy Elon said, it's going to get tougher before it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I don't know if people are really prepared to deal with that. Yeah. Show some love to some people. You never know what they're going through, man.
That's right.
Panero, what you got for the folk before we wrap?
Man, with this new year coming in, I'd like to piggyback a little bit on what Don was saying. Let's try to strengthen each other. Let's try to love on one another much more. There's strength in numbers. Let's be more family oriented. I saw a guy in AutoZone the other day, and he was trying to buy some parts, and he was digging in his pockets, and he was short, and he was looking around. I'm like, man, whatever it is, whatever you need, I got you. Don't worry about it. Because obviously you out here trying to do something positive, trying to fix your car, trying to do something with your life. You know what I mean? And for my young men out there who's searching for relationships, any women out there who's, when you first starting off, asking you to do this and pay for that and do that and the third, always remember, a woman will require less from a man that she likes the most. And that's from men of a certain age, man. Carry that with you.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Hit the Yui on that one.
Spin the block.
What was that last sentence?
So say like this, a woman will require less from a man that she likes the most. If she likes you and you take her to a picnic with some fruit and sandwiches, she gonna love you regardless. If she wants you to take her out to Loose Chris when you first meet her, she really don't like you. She like what you can do for her. So always remember, a woman requires less from a man that she likes the most.
I like that. It's good seeing y'all to end this last Sunday of 2024, man. It's been an up and down year for the boy. I'm standing on my square,
yes,
like the dots stated. I'm looking forward to 2025 and staying alive in 2025. I don't know what comes, but I'm definitely going to continue to maintain and stand on my square, man. I want to say thank you, Don, for becoming a partner and Men of a Certain Age in 2024, man. That was highlights of the year, bringing you on.
Great addition.
And we appreciate your banter. You know what I mean? And we look forward to much more of it. Panero, the backbone of the suit, man. I appreciate you, man. And to everybody out there, I'm gonna take the Eddie Murphy route, and I'm gonna say Merry New Year.
Yes, in the face.
And for Men of a Certain Age, man, it's the same old suit. We just reheating it. Until next year, man.
Peace, man.